been playing some more Starcraft 2 ladder games recently, so we're just going to take a look at the last couple I've played against Protoss here. It was two in a row on this really huge map called Jagannatha. I don't even remember the last time there was a map this big in the map pool. Maybe when there was that three-player one with the octopus in the middle of it. What was that one called? Catalina, I think. So you can't get your Overlord here in time to see what's going on. Oh yeah, my opponent was actually random. They told me they were Protoss, so I told them I'm Zerg. I always play Zerg. They actually know this without me telling them. So they're going here for... I get over here and see there's something weird at the front, and I don't actually do a very good job of following up on that. I'm doing my opener that I do against Protoss, where I get a hatch a little bit earlier because it prevents them from pylon blocking me, although I don't actually know if I need to on this map because, again, it's so gigantic. So I think Protoss is aware of that too, so I haven't actually seen a single one trying to do it on this map. But I think you could just send a probe slightly earlier and still try to do that. So they're going Forge first, but not for a cannon rush. So that should be a huge red flag when I get here, and somehow I guess my brain doesn't process that when I manage to get over here. So getting both gas. I don't know any of this yet. My vision is currently, have an Overlord going very slowly across the map. So this map does have these speed zones that that makes your units move faster in them, but they're all way out here in the middle of nowhere. I guess it helps you move between the attack paths a little bit, but they aren't actually super practical for getting to and from where you're going until much later in the game. Yeah, I feel like it's more around 135 that my Overlord normally sees what's going on. I'll have to check that on some other maps and see. But I do get over here and see, okay, well, they've got already a forge and they've got a pylon going down. They've got a nexus. I think, oh, well, they could be proxying something, although that's probably not correct since they have their forge here. Actually, I see their pylon here too, which in game I didn't quite pick up on. So that would tell me actually they're not proxying anything, because they would have put this pylon somewhere else if they were. They made a wall in case. Oh, I see. It's like, what, are they expecting a Zerg rush maybe? No, they're just trying to untrap their probe and still leave a wall there. Okay. So I know when they have a nexus already going on, I should be able to take a pretty fast third base. Yeah, and there it is. Because this means they're not going to do anything where they super aggro me right away. They need some time for their nexus to give them income for it to be worth the investment. Is this going to probe not fit through here? Yeah, okay. I thought not, because that's why they had to cancel it last time. They're just maybe checking their wall if it was good. Yeah, so after a minute here, I go, wait, what's going on? I need to find out. So that's the latest cybernetics core in the history of late cybernetics cores. Alright. Didn't catch that in game either. I've just taken it for granted they've got a cybernetics core already. They did eventually get a probe over here and make a proxy pylon. It's not actually that much closer than... Well, I guess it's a little bit closer than this base, but it's not like super close. It's not like over here somewhere. And this is a relatively unimportant part of the map that doesn't get used much, so this is a place that makes some sense. I'm just going, well, I don't really know what my opponent's doing, so I'm getting +1 roaches. I'm going to make a layer. And I should go attack when +1 and roach speed finish, which I don't think actually happens this game, which then leads to further problems. So there's a layer. I started some spores because, again, I don't really know what's going on. I haven't found anything over here with my Overlord, so that's kind of strange. There's the Stargate that went down. They're getting some more gas here. So I don't actually know what my opponent is doing at all in game. I see they have a Stalker. I managed to see it. They did get both gas here, so I'm not getting like Zealot all end off 30 probes or something. All that would make... That could be a thing, I guess, with their forge, which I haven't actually double-checked if it was spinning at all when I went by it. So I see it's not actually even upgrading anything. They literally got it to make a cannon. Getting +1 air weapons, making a fleet beacon. So they're rushing to Tempests or probably carriers. They end up killing their own gateway. Okay. Here's the third. It's been a while. I haven't actually seen what's going on, and I should really be double-checking that. Okay. So like I said, I should be getting +1 roaches and then going and attacking when +1 roach speed finish. I should be, right now, just making overlords and then roaches. This should be the last of the drones I make, and that should be nothing but overlords and roaches for a bit. Getting a Hydroden is okay. Maybe that can wait. But the fact that I currently have 4 Zerglings is definitely an issue when I need to have roaches and +1 to go attack. Because you can't just let your opponent sit there and do whatever they want. You're going to lose the game if that happens. No, why are there more drones right now? There shouldn't be more drones on the production. There shouldn't be nothing but roaches right now. Overlords for the supply and roaches. That should be the only thing I'm making. Getting overlord speed, that's good, but I'm going to have +1 and I'm going to have like 7 roaches. This is not okay. This needs to be like 25 roaches, and it's 8. Hey, 11. And even with my only 11 roaches, I should still go move on the map and see what's going on, because I'm totally blind. I should at least be moving this overlord now that I have overlord speed. Because in my vision, I've seen, oh, well, they have a nexus here, and that's what I know. I haven't ever gone back and checked what's going on at the front here. I haven't tried to go back in their main and see what they might have there. Oh, look at all these Stargates. You know, and that would be useful information. So now I keep making roaches. I think I start +2 here in a second, which is okay, but I really need to, now that I've got the 20+ roaches, I need to move out. Knock down these rocks. This is just a waste of time because I have to get over in my opponent's face and put some pressure on them. I'm not doing it at all. Roaches don't scale well into the late game. They're just not a good unit once you get past about 8 to 10 minutes at all. And yet, I'm working on getting +2. I've made a Spire and an Infestation Pit, thinking, okay, great, we're going to a later game. But I still don't actually know what my opponent is doing, so I don't know what the correct tech path is to take. Also haven't started upgrades on my Hydroden. And then I just stand here for a long time again. So bad. So I'm adding some Hydralisks to the numbers now, and that's okay, but this Phoenix has been hunting down all my overlords. Creep spread is looking pretty okay. So that's at least a plus. But I don't know what's going on with my opponent at all in game. It's a completely exposed base over here that I could be wiping out for a long time now. Yep, my opponent's over here. Already got 3 carriers. Got a bunch more on the way. Because I've done exactly nothing to go bother my opponent. I don't know why. This rock is not important. Why am I killing it? Again, this is time that could be in my opponent's face before they have more units. Oh, it's so painful to watch. I'm just here, standing. This army needs to be over here, like, at least 2 minutes ago, and maybe more than that. They're literally just making gateways to make more of a wall and then maybe be able to warp in some zealots later. That's good. Well, I do at least realize I'm not going to anti-timing and not attack before +2 when I do make this decision to start moving, but it's still so late. And for my army, if it's just going to be standing, my army needs to be more defensive than this. But is that a... Oh, the thing just looks weird in the acceleration zone. Yep. So now I don't know what my opponent's at in terms. Yeah, 7 carriers totally uninterrupted. Yeah, this you're just never gonna win this game as Zerg ever. You have to go and have bothered them sooner, or like I've correctly got more other bases, but since I haven't seen what they're doing, I've been building the wrong units. I have all these roaches that are useless, all these ravagers that are useless. You know, I could have stopped at the 20. Well, I could have had the 20-ish attack initially, then made Hydralisks after it, and I would be in a much better spot right now. But I have too few Hydralisks to handle the interceptors. I'm gonna start more Hydralisks, which is absolutely correct. But then I also need to just chill at home a little bit and actually defend. I do manage to kill the fleet beacon, so that means no more carriers for at least a little while, which that's good. And these units are useless, so I don't know that I should have retreated them at all. They're probably only going to get 1 or 2 more shots off anyhow. That's alright. So yeah, here's the thing. I also have all these resources that I should be starting spore crawlers with. So when my opponent gets to my side of the map with all their carriers, there's more anti-air. Start some corruptors. I don't actually know how correct that is. Probably not at all until I have some spores up. What did I actually end up getting? Protoss weapons level 2 for the air. Yeah. I just have too few Hydralisks and they just melt. And the game goes on for several more minutes from here, but, you know, I've lost because I hadn't seen what my opponent was doing at all. I hadn't gone and bothered them at all. I've also just lost track of my upgrades. I made a Greater Spire at one point thinking I was going to maybe eventually go Broodlords, but that's not a thing you want against a carrier army. So that's some wasted gas. And yeah, my opponent gets up here, kills off my extreme, my outer bases that are harder to defend. They eventually come back and clean up these others too, and I never quite managed to make a big enough army to stop this. Because I don't have the resources anymore, because I spent it all on these roaches that I stood around and did nothing with when they need to be going and attacking. So that's basically the end of that game. Then we can take a look at the other game I played against Protoss right after it on that same map. And again, this map is huge. I'm actually surprised I don't see more proxies on it because it's just impossible to check everywhere. So again, I do my build where I do a slightly earlier hatchery to try to avoid getting it blocked, even though I don't know how practical it is to do that pylon block on this map. My opponent, though, here has a really big tell that I spot. When my overlord sees the probe. Not that one. That one I see in a minute. But my overlord ends up seeing another probe out here. This probe that's carrying minerals. And I haven't actually seen the other probe yet. But I saw, okay, they have a probe that's carrying minerals. Great. But then this probe that's in my base, not carrying minerals. Okay, so there's 2 probes there, because the only way a probe loses minerals is by returning them to a nexus. And I know that probe couldn't have run all the way back to their nexus and then come back into my base. So I'm, okay, where is the proxy? And literally, I've already seen it. Right? And then, oh hey, look, there's... Now I really see it. So I get my Zerglings over here that I made just to defend, you know, an early adept or anything like that. Kill off the probe, kill off the pylon, and that's just the end of the game, because my opponent's invested all these resources in getting a proxy up that now has no power, so I can't even make a unit. So, you know, from here I just could counterattack and win by making a bunch of Zerglings. I guess my opponent has a couple gateways at home. They might be okay from here. But they were really banking on this proxy being the end of the game. So they just left the game. All right, see everybody in the next one.